So I've been getting this question this week from around like 4 or 5 people. So I thought that I would make a video on this topic. Why do I keep attracting the same kinds of people in my relationships? Okay, keep watching.
Yeah, I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Flow Mashkaram and Flow Stay. My name is Sumit Chatterjee, founder of the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state guide, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today we're talking about why do you keep seeing the same patterns in your relationships? Why are you attracted to the same kinds of people? Now, this is a multifaceted answer, right? And again, I want to state that this is my professional and personal opinion. You don't have to listen to me. You get to listen to me, or you choose to, right? So if you don't like what I say or you don't resonate with this, you can turn it off, okay? However, I just want to start off by saying your idea of love is most often associated with your ideas of home, of belonging, okay? Your idea of your childhood home is oftentimes your idea of the imprints of love that are created from very, very, very young. What you might be thinking is love in a relationship is actually your subconscious mind almost trying to find ways to reintegrate, okay? There's a theory in relationships called imago theory, and what it states is essentially that we unconsciously search for partners that trigger our core wounds or our childhood wounds so that we can heal ourselves in a sense. So our subconscious mind actually seeks for wholeness, seeks for completion, seeks for a sense of integration. And it does this through the mirror of relationships or other people. Oh, you know how we say that, hey, everyone came into my life for a reason, right? They taught me something. That's kind of what is happening in our own subconscious mind. So we're putting out the signals that bring us these things so that we're more conscious of it, so that we can correct them in ourselves and we can actually thrive and move forward with the kind of conscious relationship that we want to build, which is more supportive, fun, and allows room for comfort and growth, right? Your idea of home is I feel lost. Your idea of relationships is I feel lost. If your idea of home is I'm constantly moving around, your idea of relationships is I'm constantly moving from relationship to relationship. You see what I'm saying? So that's actually really deep insight. Tell me that this isn't true, that the negative traits of all of your past relationships leads to the negative environment of your home growing up. And hey, I could be totally wrong here, right? But this is my own understanding, own interpretation. Obviously, I've noticed this within my own life, which is why I'm bringing it up. If you notice the imprint of love growing up, but your parents are fighting all the time, guess what? You're gonna recreate that situation with your partners where you guys are fighting all the time because you think that's your association with love. You see what I'm saying? And this is unconscious, so you didn't even choose that, but it's your responsibility to heal it. So it's not so much that if you were in a very toxic relationship that you're being healed through that toxic relationship. It could be that your wound or your core wound is being revealed through this other person, and for you to recognize that. Relationships are getting towards a wholeness eventually. So if you spend enough time with this person, your identity will start to merge with this other person. And if they don't have a solid foundation of understanding that, your ideas are going to merge with theirs, and it might be a bit of a tussle in a sense. This is difficult to deal with since a lot of people, they've got to get very, very aware and conscious that, hey, this is what I'm actually attracted to, right? It's like a lot of people justify in their minds, no, but this one feels more right? It's a feeling. Listen, that's emotional reasoning. Just because it feels more right doesn't mean that it is right. I mean, alcohol feels right to an alcoholic, you know what I mean? So this is what I'm trying to say with this, is that just because you're getting a feeling of, there's this trauma bonding happening or this attachment happening to this person, it's not so much your attachment to them it's an imprint in your subconscious mind that you're going to have to heal, process, and release. It's really about being the choice point. Okay, how do you solve this? It's really about getting to that point where you're like, this is my norm, right? This is my ego self acting in this way in order for me to, heal or stay familiar in a sense. The soul wants to heal, but the ego wants to kind of stay familiar, right? And you start to understand that, okay, both of them kind of are opposing ends, but they kind of want me to do the same thing, which is kind of recognize that and grow. And so when you make that choice that I know that I'm pulled towards this, but I'm not going to fall for that same trap. I'm not going to self-sabotage and go for the same kind of person that I'm used to. That's when you take the power back. Here's the question. What would I have to believe is true to keep attracting this relationship in my life? What would I have to believe is true to keep attracting these relationships in my life? What would I have to believe is true? Keep asking yourself this question. What would I have to believe is true for these relationships to show up in my life? What would I have to believe is true about men, about women, whichever gender you're attracted to? Ask yourself this question. What would I have to believe is true? Why am I attracting, clingy partners? Why am I attracting more aggressive partners? You know the answer better than I do. I'm just shaping and helping you with this internal work. If you want to work further on this, we can. However, this is just to get you to start to get the ball rolling, in a sense. The best thing that I can recommend you to do is to create your own relationship framework. I did this years ago, and what it really helped me do is to write down all of the brainwashing that I've got in terms of relationships, and just write it down on a large list, right, of what I think a relationship needs to be like, and it's supposed to be like, and it has to be like this. And I just write it down, and I start seeing all of these illusions kind of show itself, and from those illusions I get to spot the limiting beliefs, and from the limiting beliefs I get to make the choice point. I get to choose the newer beliefs that replace those old beliefs, that are more accurate, that are actually serving me. After doing the brainstorming session, what you want to be doing is creating a relationship framework. For this framework, you simply state, what is it that you want in your relationship? If there were no preconceptions, no rules, you had it your way, how would you want your relationships to be? I want someone trustworthy. Okay, why do you want someone trustworthy? What does that mean to you? You want to go deeper than the superficial layer of just putting down a list of things that you need, and it must be perfect, and every man or woman must match this specific ideal. No, we're not doing that. What we're doing is we're getting you very, very conscious of the values that you admire in a supportive understanding between two people. One of my rules is, and of course I don't mean this in any form of objectification, but there's this woman called Mary Kondo, okay? I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She's a lovely Japanese woman. And she has this idea of tidying up, and she's been helping me kind of keep that mentality of, when I think of her frequency, I just think of like cleanliness, you know what I mean? Like, it's quite interesting. But basically, she picks up an object and asks herself, does this help me to spark joy? Right? So if we can do this with objects, can't we do that with people? Can't we do that with other individuals? Does this person help me to spark joy in my life? That's one of my relationship frameworks, believe it or not. Okay, so, but that's mine. You can't just, you can take that. You feel free to steal it. But in any sense, you want to create such a framework for yourself that aligns so directly, right? One of my rules is NLP, right? She must be nurturing, loving, and playful. Okay, but that's very personal to me, so you're not going to put that on your relationship framework. So you got to find a way that you design yours. What do you actually look for in a partner? Don't get so picky. You can make yourself laugh with it, right? You can make it like kind of an online dating ad or something like that. Make yourself laugh with it. I think that's important. Like, not to take this so seriously, because this is a very deep topic. But at the same time, you want to find that sense of connection with self. This is all about that self-knowledge. Our ego likes to form into our comfort zone and familiarity. So if we don't break out of that pattern of thinking about something, it's going to stay the same unless we decide to actively change something. So for instance, the girl I lost my virginity to, I have a very, very clear type in a sense where I seek that in my next partners. I notice as a type, like, oh, we all have a type of person, right? And so it has something to do with this idea of your ego wants to grasp onto your first sense of bonding. It could be very true, right? A lot of people have told me this is true with them as well. Yo, we're dealing with this supercomputer, right? That likes to latch on and categorize and make sense of things. And so if we let it make sense for us instead of being the sovereign authority of our own mental world, we start getting run by these emotions instead of running with them, right? Running with the wolves instead of fighting against them. So the wolf that wins is the one you feed, right? So hope this video helps you out today, gives you a new perspective. Have an incredible day today. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Upward Spiral Gang, let's get it. Hit that subscribe button.